we're on to the last course study from social approach and also the last one in the syllabus. This study is by Yamamoto, Hamli, and Tanaka in 2012. So it's quite recent. We just wrote it as Yamamoto et al. Okay, and the title for the study is Chimpanzees Flexible Targeted Helping based on an understanding of conspecific goal. So here the key words would be chimpanzee, targeted helping, and understanding of conspecific goal. Okay, so first thing that I wanted to discuss is the meaning of each of this term, the meaning of targeted helping and also the meaning of conspecific. So we'll discuss it as the background to the study. Okay, so what is meant by conspecific? So the word conspecific means that the member of the same species. So for example, macam I'm a human, you guys are human juga kan. So meaning that you guys are my conspecific. You guys are member of my own species. So for example, like chimpanzee and another chimpanzee, they are considered as conspecific because they are the member of the same species. So atu saja the definitionnya. It means that the member of the same species. So the study here is looking at targeted helping, the behavior of helping within the same species of chimpanzee. Okay. What is meant by targeted helping? It's also known as instrumental helping. This is a kind of social behavior. It's not like helping behavior in general. This is like an extension of helping behavior, a type of helping behavior that is called as targeted helping. This is when help is given, a type of care or help given based on the cognitive understanding of the need or situation of other, meaning that you're able to provide help according to the need of that person. Like if they need something, you help them based on what they need. Okay, and targeted helping are usually some sort of help where that person doesn't even have to tell what they need. You can guess it just by looking at them. You know that they need something and you can give or provide to them exactly what they need. So that kind of helping where you are giving help based on the need of that person is what we call as targeted helping. So for example, macam kalau maybe your friend lupa bawa money to school, and then after that you lend your money to that person because he or she needs it. That kind of act where you're giving something according to the need of that person is what we call as targeted helping. Okay. Okay, so this study punya background have a connection to Piliaven punya study, in which they also talked about altruism or altruistic helping. Okay, so here human extensively help other altruistically, and this leads us to a cooperative society. So we always one another, we always help out altruistically. I'm pretty sure you still remember, meaning that you're helping someone without expecting any return, a selfless act at all. But how does human evolutionarily achieve these cooperative traits? So meaning that how were we able to understand the need of others? And how do we actually learn how to help other people? So many studies have indeed addresses the why, but not the how. So macam just like Piliaven talked about why people help, why people don't help, the cost and benefit theory ito explain about why we help, why we don't help. But not a lot of study looks at how. How are we capable to help other people? Who teaches us on how to help? Okay, so many non-human animal that refers to like chimpanzee or capuchin or monkeys. So these animals demonstrate cooperative abilities such as helping or sharing foods with their conspecific without any direct benefit to them. So for example, cotton-top tamarin, capuchin, and chimpanzee. So these mammals, they are cooperating with one another, in which they are helping one another by sharing food or by just helping out or protecting one another. However, our understanding of the cognitive mechanism involved remain limited, and this require further investigation. So like I said today, a lot of the study talks about why, but not how. So what goes on in our cognitive when we help people. So this require further investigation. Um, like as a recap there, I put down what does altruism mean. So if you still remember when I discussed Piliavin, I did talk about altruistic helping. So you might want to fill in the definition yourself there. Okay. So, the continuation from the background, it is important to investigate the similarities and differences in targeted helping and its mechanism among human, chimpanzee, and other non-human animal. So, this study wanted to look at what are the similarities and differences between different types of animal or different types of primates here. So in humans, sometimes only observing other in trouble is enough to prompt the onset of helping without direct request. So if for us human, our cognitive mechanism, it works just by looking at that person, we already know what they need. So macam like when we're making donation ka, kan sedekah ka, or when we are just basic from your friends ka saja, just by looking at their condition, you already know that they needed help and it already started your behavior to help that person, your desire to help that person. So meaning that for human, it's quite straightforward. We just observe if they look like they need help, and then we already know, and then that's when we would start to do targeted helping. So recent study on human toddler pro-social behavior revealed that 18 months old infant help an unfamiliar adult in trouble but require considerable communication from the adult about his or her need. So they're using 18 months. That's 1 year and a half lah. So they wanted to see if this child, young 1 year and a half, are able to do targeted helping to an adult. This adult is really in an emergency that needed help. So the infant did provided help. Ganya, the adult need to really explain his or her need. Okay, so meaning that as a kid, like 1 year and a half, though they are capable of helping. Ganya, they needed a lot of explanation. And then they use another sets of participant, 30 months old infant, so that's like 2 years and a half. They help an adult more spontaneously, possibility due to their acquired empathetic skill or ability. So as they grow older, they were able to help more spontaneously without adults having to explain apa they wanted. So this could be as they grow older, dorang punya empathetic ability also grow as they grow. Okay? So this indicates that children are learning. It's due to nature. It can also be due to nurture. So we are born with the skill of helping, but at the same time, we also learn it from the environment. Okay, so before Yamamoto did the study, they actually ikutkan this study by Savage and Rumba. So in the study, they're also using chimpanzee. So to chimpanzee, the procedure akan sama, in which that the participant can correctly choose and donate tools that their partner requested using symbol. So arah study ni, they have two chimpanzee trying to help one another. So kalau macam the first chimpanzee tunjuk arah one of the symbol, so the other chimpanzee would know what that symbol mean and then get the item and bagi arah the other chimpanzee. So in this study by Savage and Rumba, it's a bit different because the chimpanzee are learning about symbols. They have to learn what each symbols mean in order to help the other person, okay? So the part where they are giving help to one another to, it's sama macam the presence tadi by Yamamoto, but the part yang pakai symbol ni is not there in the Yamamoto punya study. So in Yamamoto, they're not teaching the chimpanzee about symbol. They're just basically wanted to investigate if chimpanzee can communicate with one another in any possible language that they can, to convey or to help one another to get the item that they need, okay, which I will talk lagi later. But some parts of the study is sama macam the study by Savage and Rumba. Okay, so an important point to know is that the chimpanzee were trained, but they were not conditioned. So what that mean is that although the chimpanzee were all trained in solving the tool use tasks, which I will talk about later, even though they were trained on how to solve the task, there were never any training or shaping of behavior of the participant. So shaping here means that giving positive reinforcement to a subject as she approaches a desired behavior. So this brings back to macam si Pepper Bird. So Alex dia punya behavior kana shape in ways that he understand that whenever he gave a correct responses, he will be rewarded. But for this chimpanzee, they were not conditioned. They're not gonna associate if they solve the tool use test at all, they will be rewarded. So they in the study, see Yamamoto didn't use any rewards. So they just trained the chimpanzee mana can solve kan the task. But this chimpanzee were never rewarded if they were able to solve the task. So in other words, the help the chimpanzee give is not due to the conditioning. So it doesn't mean that kalau you help someone, you punya on-con specific, he will be rewarded. Because kalau you cuma tu artinya, he's gonna associate helping sama reward. So that doesn't happen in this study by Yamamoto. Okay? So they're not shaping, they were just training. So there's no association of helping sama reward. There's no reward given. Okay, so the Yamamoto studies are related to two studies in our syllabus. One is Piliavin because Piliavin is also looking at altruistic helping and Piliavin pasal helping jua. So Yamamoto is also pasal helping, but it's just that it's on animal. And then it also relates to Baron Cohen because Master Baron Cohen, we talked about theory of mind or the skills of empathy. So in the study, like I said tadi sama, in the study also for targeted helping to happen, you need a certain level of empathy. You need to use your theory of mind. So that's why this study is related to P11. It's also related to some aspect of Baron Cohen. Now we're looking at how theory of mind relates to the study. So if you remember, theory of mind basically understanding the feeling of other people, or in this case understanding the intention and the needs of other. So when you understand people punya feeling, then you're able to understand what they need or what they want. Okay. Previously, the ability to offer targeted helping to a member of our own species relies on understanding of the goal, which is linked to theory of mind. So targeted helping, like I said before, can only be done when you understand the person, understand orang punya goal, and this requires the theory of mind. So people believe that theory of mind is unique to human and can explain why they are the only species to demonstrate altruistic helping. So people believe that only humans saja yang ada theory of mind. Animal doesn't have theory of mind. So that's why they were saying that animal are not capable of altruistic helping because orang ada theory of mind. However, some recent studies shown that some primates, not all but just some, have the capacity for helping and food sharing. So even if you see like cats kan, they share food. Sometimes they protect one another kalau ada danger coming without direct benefit to themselves. Like sharing food, there's no benefit for them, tapi they still share food. So this indicate about altruistic helping in which that some primates, I would say like cats, are demonstrating altruistic helping. So, but we don't have an answer yet. We don't know whether artinya animal ada theory of mind. So there's no answer that clearly state that animal also have theory of mind. But we will look into the study and we'll see how it works. How are animals capable of targeted helping? So we're done with the background. Now we're going on to the aim. So the aim of the study was to learn more about chimpanzees' helping behavior. So there's two questions that they wanted to investigate. One is whether chimpanzee can understand the needs of conspecific, their own species. Second is whether chimpanzees can respond to those needs with targeted helping. So meaning that without not the person, without the other species telling what they needed. So they wanted to know, can chimpanzee do targeted helping or not? Okay, so we're looking at the sample, which is the participant. So in the previous slide, I put in the picture of the participant. So the participants are mother and child pair. Okay, so every chimpanzee will be paired with the mother. So kira dorang handang the task required two people, not two people, two animals. So ia punya task itu they have to do it with the mother or the mother with the child. Okay. So, if you see tadi ada three pairs kan, si I, Ayumu, Pen, Paul. So, three pairs, but here I said that participants-nya was only five chimpanzee. Ada the picture yang tadi six kan. It's because one of the chimpanzee is not part, ia inda jadi participant. So, no data was gathered from that one chimpanzee ito. So therefore, ia pakai 5 saja. Tapi the other one atau ia participate in the study ganya. He's not the one offering help. So there's no data for that particular chimpanzee. So there's 5 chimpanzee. They were housed within the Primate Research Institute at Kyoto University. So again, they live in research institute. Each had been previously been a part of a number of other perceptual and cognitive study, including some investigating helping behavior in a similar setting to the present study. So, sama macam si Alex, while doing the study by Pepperberg, he's also participating in other study kan, and he has been in studies for such a long time. Same thing with this chimpanzee. They have been in a lot of research before this, and also during the study by Yamamoto ato. For every trial, the chimpanzee were paired in mother and child pair. Like I said today, mamanya sama anaknya team up during one trial ato. Each pair had already demonstrated frequent tool-giving interaction in previous experiment. They were familiar with the tool used task in the study. So after this, when we go into procedure, I will explain. So as of Ani, it was just saying that they know what to do with the task. They know how to solve the task. They know what are the uses of the tools already before the start of the procedure. Okay, so the research method of study is a lab experiment because it took part in an artificial environment. The chimpanzee was seated at adjacent experimental booth, which we will look at in the next slide. Because it's an experiment, so ada IV and DV. So the IV would be the ability of chimpanzee to give targeted helping to another chimpanzee. And then there's two conditions of the IV, which is the can see condition and the cannot see. So again, I will explain lang po sa net. The DV with is the targeted helping behavior. So dorang punya helping behavior lah. Were they capable of helping ataupun inda. So helping behavior was operationalized as the item offered by the participant to the conspecific. So later lagi I will discuss more about this. Okay. Now, we're looking at the apparatus. So tadi I said they were seated in adjacent experimental booth kan. So that's how it looks like. So mamanya in one booth, anaknya is in the other booth. So they are able to communicate or bagi the object because there's a hole in between the booth. Okay? So the pair chimpanzee were tested in two adjacent experimental booths. So the booths are next to one another, adjacent. And the size of the booth are 136 times 142, 155 times 142, 200 centimeter high. So it's not that sampit. Kira okay lah the space for both. And then like I said tadi, there's a hole. There's a hole which is 12.5 times 35 centimeter at the middle there. If you see one of the chimpanzee is masukkan niya punya tangan kan. So it's not that sampit again, the hole. In the panel wall divider separating the two participants was located 1 meter above the floor. So this is the description for the booth. Now, another apparatus that they use is the video cameras. So participants' behavior and the interaction are recorded by 3 video cameras, which is Panasonic NVGS 150. The researcher would analyze what object the helper offered the recipient and count the helper's offer when a participant held out a tool towards a recipient. So, ani the data. The data would be apa barang yang ia bagi arah the other chimpanzee and berapa kali ia offer help. Okay, only the helper first offer was retained for analysis. So in terms of the barang ato, only the first barang yang ia bagi to the other chimpanzee are recorded or are analyzed. So the second barang or the third barang yang ia bagi are not counted as data. So only the first offer saja, yang the first barang yang ia bagi would be analyzed. The behavior recorded included how they move, responses to gesture, where they were looking while they sat in the experimental booth. So, ani what are the sorts of behavior yang dorang record lah. So, all those observation is done by using video camera. So, data was analyzed by watching video cameras. Now another apparatus is the types of panel. So tadi you see kan, the booth are surrounded by glasses. So this glasses ini depends on the condition. So meaning that kalau it's a can see condition, can see dapat nampak, the panel would be transparent, meaning that they're able to see the other chimpanzee, the situation in that booth. Kalau the condition is cannot see, in the nampak, then the glass ito will be opaque. So if you see the type of panel yang opaque ito, hindi nampak kan. So they will not be able to see the situation in the booth next to them ito. And then there's also, ya can see nya to, dorang repeat 2 kali. So masa can see, awal-awal trialnya can see. So dorang, the glasses are transparent. Lepas itu cannot see, which is opaque glasses. Lepas itu dorang repeat lagi yang can see. So arah can see dorang pakai transparent. So in this case, arah study ni dorang uses 2 types of panel, which is transparent sama opaque, but transparent were used twice. Okay, so the next apparatus is a tray of tools. So this is the tools that would be the one yang they have to offer to the other chimpanzee. So arah this tray of tools ada 7 item. There's chain, hose, stick, rope, straw, belt, and penyapu, brush. Yeah, penyapu. Yeah, the brush. So all this will be put inside a tray. So 7 objects altogether. So the chimpanzee have to pick the object specifically yang the other chimpanzee needed. So ada 7 option lah. Okay, so this study uses repeated measure design. So it means that the chimpanzee have to repeat all the condition of the study. So IV-nya tadi I said ada can see and cannot see. So IV-nya they manipulated the glasses, transparent, opaque, and then transparent again. So the chimpanzee have to do all the condition. They have to go through the transparent condition, the opaque condition, and then the transparent condition one more time. And then the DV, they would look at what item did they offer, and then how many time do they offer help. Okay, so the DV sama saja for all the conditions. So the procedure of the study, so the chimpanzee, they have to select a tool that would help solve the other chimpanzee's problem. So the task, either they required a stick or the straw. So solving the task allow the second chimpanzee in the pair to obtain a reward, which is the juice drink. So either the juice box it depends on the trial. Sometimes the juice box is out of reach. So artinya ia jauh. So kalau juice box satu jauh, then the chimpanzee needs a stick. So ia will ambil the stick, use the stick to reach out to the juice. Or sometimes the juice satu ampere, but it's just that the juice not a straw. So during this occasion, then the chimpanzee have to offer a straw to help them. Okay, So, juice box tu ada dua condition lah. Either ia out of reach ataupun ia ada straw. But in this case, so the only tools yang applicable to solve the task is stick or straw. Okay? Okay, so the starting of the procedure, it will start when the seven objects were placed in a booth occupied by a potential helper. So, arah the booth itu ya sebalah menyebalah kan. So, seorang the helper, seorang yang receiving the help. Okay? So, the seven object will be put in the booth of the helper. And then after that, this could not be reached by the potential recipient. So, the one yang receiving the help, they will not be able to reach the tray of the seven tools ato. But they have to make requests by the chimpanzee by poking his or her arm through a hole to gesture. So caranya, because they cannot reach to the tray ato kan, so they would just have to use gesture to indicate that they needed help. They wanted help, which is they wanted one of the item yang arah tray ato. So this allowed the experimenter to examine whether the potential helper, chimpanzee, was able to understand what the other needed. So before the trial started, the chimpanzee went through a familiarization phase each day where they could examine and manipulate all the objects without the need to use them as a tool or offer them to others. So what that means is kind of like they have seven objects. So if like baru on the actual day, baruta they were given this tool, obviously they wouldn't know what's the function of the tool. So therefore, before the trial started, the chimpanzee was given this tool already. They were given this to play around so that they know what's the purpose of each of the tools ato. So darang kana suruh like get to know the trials lah without having to use them. So just macam main-main with the tool so that they figure out what's the use of the tool themselves. So um, this situation, because so you imagine CA sama CB ya. So CA is the helper, CB is yang receiving help. So the tools will be arah CA, but CB yang needed the tool satu. So CB have to make request to CA to minta the tools, okay? But the thing is with chimpanzee, they cannot talk kan, they cannot say okay aku mau straw or I want stick. So in this case, we will be looking at whether the CANA are able to understand the need of CB without CB telling apa yang ia mau, because chimpanzee cannot talk, okay? Cannot talk to one another. So from here, we can see whether they can help other without the other explaining apa yang ia needed, okay? Okay, so each chimpanzee will experience the condition in the same order, meaning that they would have to do the can see trials dulu, lepas tu baru the cannot see trial, lepas tu baru they repeat the can see again. So they receive the condition in the same order. First, they were placed in the can see booth, in which the panel was transparent, and then they completed the cannot see, in which the panel was opaque. And then they repeated again the can see condition, just to confirm that any differences in the object between the two conditions was due to intentional and not order effect, okay? So I will talk about order effect like after this. Okay, now another term that you need to know, this is quite an important term. It relates to repeated measure. So one of the weaknesses, so kalau pakai repeated measure, like again, dorang buat the condition, all of the condition. So in this case, dorang buat can see, lepas the third trial, dorang repeat lagi the can see. So the problem is kalau pakai repeated measure ni, it can be affected by order effect. So order effect is when the order of the condition has an effect on the participant's behavior. So kalau participants are affected by the order of doing the conditions ato, this could be a confounding variable or an extraneous variable, because validity may be lowered as participant can be tired, bored of or have worked out what they were supposed to be doing in a study. So macam si chimpanzee ya, dorang buat can see sudah, lepas tu dorang buat cannot see lagi, lepas tu buat lagi can see. So you imagine like sitting for the same task every day. you might it might affected your performance kan kalau I give you the test every single day for 10 days. Every day test saja. So in this case, your performance either get better because you already know how to do it. So you already have worked out what you're supposed to do. So you do better after a while. Or it might be you do less better. Less better pasal you get tired or you get bored by it. Now when this happens, the result will not be valid because it's already affected by order effect. So meaning that your results itu awal-awal it's bad and then suddenly it get better because you already figure out what to do. So in this case, it's not valid anymore because we're not looking at your natural behavior. We're looking at your improvement, not your natural behavior. Or for example, macam awal-awal you do good and then suddenly sudah hari ketiga you get ngalih, you get boring. So lepas itu your performance in the test makin drop. Okay? So again, we're not looking at a valid results there because your result is affected by your tiredness and your boredom. Okay? So order effect ini selalunya happen kalau the researcher pakai repeated measure. So kalau kalian tanya like what is the disadvantages of pakai repeated measure, you can say that the result may be affected by order effect. Okay? In which that they get better or they get bored. Both ini will affect the natural results of the study. So it will lowers the validity of the study. Okay, now in total, there were 48 trials were carried out in each condition. So meaning that the first can see, dorang buat 48 trials, the second 48, the third 48. So you imagine balik-balik that the chimpanzee have to do this task. So definitely you can talk about order effect lah. And then within that 48 ato for each trial, 24 would be where the chimpanzee needed sticks. 24 would be when the chimpanzee needed the straw. Okay, and it would be randomized. Like first trial maybe stick, second trial straw, and then stick, stick, or straw, straw. Okay, and then the trial will begin when the object was presented. So once the tray of the object masuk ke booth, then it will start. And it will end at two occasions. One is when the other chimpanzee are able to obtain the juice reward. So kalau ia sudah dapat the juice reward, then the trial ended. Or kalau 5 minute has passed and no object was being passed, artinya another helping happen. So after 5 minutes, then the trial will be terminated. Okay. Now the offers were counted when the chimpanzee held out the object to the recipient, whether the recipient took the object or not. So offering or the help offer will be counted kalau chimpanzee bagi barang itu. So kalau the other chimpanzee itu indah mau ambil barang itu, it doesn't matter. As long as ia bagi the barang, it will still considered as an offer. So per day, they were able to do between 2 to 4 trials altogether. Okay, so this is how the procedure looks like. So when they did the can see, the first one, if you see that the panel is transparent, so the tools is in the other chimpanzee punya room, and then the juice would be in the other punya booth. Okay, so there's a hole. So for example, if you see our can see the first, the juice is out of reach. So it's behind the wall and it's jauh. So in this case, the other chimpanzee will need the tool of the stick. So you ambil stick ito and then you tarik the juice and then he will get the juice. And then the second part would be the cannot see. So if you see it's opaque kan, they use an opaque panel so they cannot see the situation. They cannot see whether the chimpanzee needed straw ka, needed stick. Okay? So they were not able to analyze the situation whether the juice box jauh ka or ia ada straw. And then the second can see sama je macam the first can see. So they repeat it. The first can see and then cannot see and then can see again. So the last part to the procedure. So let me just summarize the whole thing on the procedure. So first thing, the first step is the familiarization phase. So that one takes over 8 days, 5 minutes at a time. So they were familiar. Basically, like I said before, it was just to familiarize themselves with the object, what's the function. So they get to touch the object, they get to play around with the object over that 8 days and 5 minutes saja per phase lah for trial ito. And then once that 8 days are done, then baru they did the 48 can see dulo. So 25 stick, 24 straw. And then lapas siap the can see, they go to the cannot see. Again, sama masih 48, 24 stick, 24 straw. And then they repeat balik the can see. Again, sama jua 48, 24, and 24. And then that's it. Okay? So the procedure is just like that. Familiarization, can see, cannot see, and then can see again. Now we're going into the results section. So if you see sana, the bar chart, bar graph, it's looking at, there's 3 sets. So one is the first can see, the second one is the cannot see, and then the third one is the second can see condition. Okay, and then the blue one is the stick. When the stick is needed, how many percentage was stick given? The yellow is straw, and then satu yang gray itu is others. Others mean it applies to other object lah. So artinya dorang bagi other things besides straw or stick. And then the black one is the no offering. Okay, so let's look at how the result was distributed. So for the first can see condition, when stick is needed, more than 50%, they were able to give the correct item. So 50% of the time, they do provided the stick when stick was needed. But then some ada masih lah, like I think around 30% or 20% would give the straw when stick is needed. And then there's also no other item that were given, and then little bit of no offer. And then when straw is needed, they also have a high percentage of correct item giving. So when straw is needed, a bigger percentage of straw is given. So meaning that for can see condition, they were able to give the right or the correct item to the other chimpanzee at all. And then let's look at the cannot see lagi. So cannot see is basically a bit tricky for them because they cannot see whether the juice is far or whether the juice needed straw. Okay, so looking at the data itself, when stick is needed, there's still higher percentage of stick given, walaupun they cannot see it. And then there's still some error of giving straw or other item, or a little of no offer. And then when straw is needed, sama jua, there's a bigger percentage of straw given to them. Okay, so but bigger lagi arah, the differences is better arah can see condition. So arah cannot see, they do give the accurate object, tapi in the not so much the difference. And then the second can see, so if you can see yang second na to, they improve their performance actually. So when stick is needed, they do give stick most of the time, and when straw is needed, they do give the straw most of the time. Okay. Okay, so this is the actual data. Tadi we're just randomly looking at the bar graph saja kan. So the actual data for the can see, 90.8% offer an object, most of them upon request. So meaning that help was given at 90% of the time, but most of them, the other chimpanzee have to request. So macam mana dorang request, they just like masukkan tangan ada dalam hole tu, and then they just clap for it. So kalau the other chimpanzee did not request for it, meaning that they didn't do the hand thing, then less likely object will be offered. So ia tolong ia punya mom or ia tolong ia punya anak only when that chimpanzee asks for help. Okay, ia mesti request. So in this case, in terms of the correct tool, there's a significantly higher difference that the right tool was given than the other tool. So like I said today, they were able to give the correct item lah, which is the straw or the stick. And then for the second cannot see, 95.8 offer an object. Most of them again is upon request. So they were the chimpanzee were offering help at 95 or 96% of the time. So higher than the can see. The offer for the correct tool is significantly lower in the other than the other condition. So it's a 50-50. So like you saw tadi kan to, the offering of the correct tool ato half and half. Ada yang 50% correct, 50% incorrect. So there, it's not significantly different between the correct and the incorrect tool giving. And then for the second can see, help have increased. It goes up to 97.9 of the time they offer an object. And again, similar to the first can see, giving of the correct tool is higher than the other tool. So they were able to correctly offer the right item. Okay, so going into the results in much detail. So in the can see condition, object were offered 91% of the time. Like I said today, it occurred when it was requested by the paired chimpanzee. And then compared to the pre-test familiarization trial, offering occurred in around 5% of the trial. So they did a pre-test, they did like a pilot trial trials on the procedure in which that they found that offering only occur around 5% of the time. Now this one is before familiarization happened. So before they know about the object, they before they go into the familiarization trials, they did a pre-test on the procedure. So they did like a trial, macam rehearsal of the real thing, and the offering only occur around 50% of the time. So the familiarization phase at all, it's very important. If they don't know the object, then they are less likely to do it and offer help to the other chimpanzee. Once they know what the object is about, what's the function of the object, then they are more likely to help out, to give help. Apart from one individual, all chimpanzee first offered tool on significantly more occasion than non-tool. So all of the chimpanzee except for one ane, later I will talk about this one chimpanzee. So the rest are giving the correct tool most of the time compared to the non-other tool. So meaning that they are more likely to pick the straw ataupun the stick. The other object, they are less likely to try to offer it. Okay? And then the chimpanzee, they were able to discriminate between potential tools and the non-tools. So when they see the situation, they can already know apa the tools that the other chimpanzee needed. So they know how to differentiate yang mana yang the correct tool, yang mana yang the incorrect tool. So this suggested that chimpanzee use targeted helping through understanding of the task confronting their partner. So this indicates that they are capable of targeted helping, in which that they do understand the task, the situation that the other chimpanzee are facing. So just by looking saja, they know that okay, kalau juice box satu jauh, then they know that the other chimpanzee needed stick. Kalau juice box satu ada straw, then they know that the chimpanzee wanted straw. So artinya they do understand just by looking this at the situation saja. So for the cannot see condition, at least one object was offered in 90% of the trial. Okay, it offer mostly at request from the parent conspecific. So same thing for cannot see pun mesti kena request baru tadi other chimpanzee bagi the barang. Okay, so under the cannot see name, most of the time they offered one of the object, and it's one of either the stick ataupun the straw lah. So they know those are the two potential object. So they are more likely to offer either straw ataupun stick. Now, like the first condition, all but one chimpanzee first offered a potential tool significantly more other than the non-tool. So again, Ara, the cannot see, there's also one chimpanzee jua yang keep on giving the same thing over and over again, and iyan na mo bagi other tools besides this one tool ato. So we have to see which chimpanzee is this. Okay, so the chimpanzee today, yang I said, keep on giving the incorrect responses. So that chimpanzee is Pen. So see Pen here, keep on offering the brush item at first. But then the brush in it, it's nothing to do with the task. It's an incorrect tool, but Pen keep on giving brush balik-balik as the first item. But then the trick is once brush to kana remove from her tray, then Baruta she start to use the appropriate tool. Baruta he started to give the correct tool after that, similar to the other chimpanzee. So we're not sure why does this happen, but it actually affected the results lah, because all are doing the same thing, all are offering the same item, either brush ataupun not brush, either stick ataupun straw. But then because Pan keep on giving brush, so the result is ano tiya takachao tiya. But then when they remove it, Baruta she started to give the correct item. So I guess she knows, actually she knows that apa the correct item. Ganyan, I think she's quite obsessed with the brush ito. So it affected the whole thing lah. Okay. Now, so for the first Kansi condition, there was a significant difference in which tool was offered. So they definitely offered more on stick or straw than the other tools. And then for the cannot see, there was no significant difference in which tool was offered in all but one chimpanzee. So ani lagi, there's another chimpanzee also yang problematic lah. But yeah, so basically Ara can see there's a difference. Kalau stick is needed, they bagi stick. Kalau straw, they would give straw. So there's a significant difference between stick and straw. But Ara cannot see there's no significant difference. So kalau macam some bagi stick, some bagi straw. So there's no differences in the correct tool. Okay, because obviously they cannot see kan, so they would just randomly bagi either stick or straw. Okay, so tadi we talked about si Pen, in which Pen has disrupted the result in which that she keep on giving brush. Okay, but then there's another chimpanzee. The result was affected because Ayumu there's that one chimpanzee yang namanya Ayumu. He during the cannot see patutnya ini nampak kan to, so he wouldn't know. I'm not sure if it's a he or she, but this chimpanzee wouldn't know what tool to offer. But surprisingly, Ayumu here keep on selecting the correct tool. So you punya result jauh from the other chimpanzee, because other chimpanzee they just offer randomly either stick ataupun straw. So ada some yang correct, ada some yang incorrect. But Ayumu keep on giving the correct item even though it was a cannot see condition. Now the reason is kenapa is because he was able to stand. He was standing and he was peeking through the hole. So it's not pure through, it should be pick through the hole. So ia menyubok dari hole ato. So from there, nampak tiya the task. Nampak tiya it's either pakai stick ka or pakai straw. So that's why Ayumu keep on giving the correct tool. Okay? So he did this so in order to view his partner. So technically, it's even though it's a cannot see, tapi because he picked, then it will become like a can see condition tiya. Okay? So because he was peeking through it, which is inda, it's not fair lah. But then like this is Kira, one of the extraneous variable that cannot be controlled, and it has affected the results of the study. Now before I sambung on the results, there's some one information that I forgot to put into my slide. So basically, they do the can see, cannot see, second can see, right? So for the first can see, all 5 participants participated in the trial. Second cannot, the cannot see sama jua, still all the 5. But for the second can see ito, only 3 chimpanzee saja yang go through that second can see. So that 3 ito minus si Pen sama si Ayumu. Because Pen and Ayumu, the result was different from the other chimpanzee. So they eliminated Pen sama Ayumu in the second Kensi trial. So during the second Kensi trial, it's only done by 3 chimpanzee saja, besides Pen and Ayumu. Okay, so back to this. The results suggested that chimpanzees were only able to understand their partner goal when able to see the task themselves. So it's obvious that they were giving the correct item kalau they can see it. But when they cannot see it, they were not able to give the correct item. And then the partner, chimpanzee, perform request action with similar method and frequency in both condition. So the method of requesting sama saja, you masukkan tangannya and then just clap saja. So that's ia punya method of asking for the tools lah to be given to them. And then the behavior did communicate information regarding specific need. So yang I said tadi is just clapping saja. It doesn't indicate apa yang ia mau. Clapping, like if I clap, you wouldn't know that if I want straw ataupun stick kan. So, meaning here that the chimpanzee are reading the situation, not reading from the chimpanzee. So the other chimpanzee doesn't give any clue, doesn't give any hint apa yang ia mau. It's all based on the understanding of the other chimpanzee. He has to analyze the situation to be able to give the correct item. Okay, now this is the information tadi yang I said. Yang only 3 participants atau 3 chimpanzee. So, like I said today, during the third trial, which is the can see, second can see, only 3 chimpanzees saja. So, 5 except Ayumu sama si Pen. Because they only picked the 3 chimpanzee who have previously shown a significant difference in the tool selection in the can see and the non-significant difference in the cannot see condition. So they only picked those yang were able to give the correct item during the can see, and those yang were confused or were not able to give the correct tool during the cannot see, which is the remaining 3 lah, because si Pen sama Ayumu, ia punya results are different already. Now, for the third trial, object offered was 98% of the trial. Again, it's upon request, accounted for around 80%. Okay, so for the third trial, there was a significant difference in the offer of stick and straw depending on the situation. So they were able to give the correct item lah. So the second can see it confirms that flexible targeted helping with an understanding of the tool needed to complete the task when the chimpanzee could see the task for themselves. So targeted helping can only happen under 2 conditions. One is they understand the use of the tool, because it was shown kalau before familiarization phase, they were not able to give the correct item. So understanding of the function of the tool is important for targeted helping to happen. And then second one is the fact that they're able to see. If they could see the task for themselves, then targeted helping can happen. Kalau they cannot see, then targeted helping will not happen. Okay? So targeted helping in this study depends, it will be successful under the condition of that too. Understanding of the tool, sama if they can see it. Okay, so to the last part of the study, which is the conclusion. So first conclusion, chimpanzees are capable of offering flexible or targeted helping. But like I said today, depends lah on the situation. So this was done upon understanding the need of a conspecific. So they were able to understand the need of the other species. their own same species, and they were able to give targeted helping. And then when chimpanzee can visually appreciate the situation, they will help. So meaning that if they can only see it saja, then they were able to help accurately. However, what needs to be noted was most of the time chimpanzee did not help unless there was a direct request. So meaning that mesti kena request baru ta they were offering help. Kalau indah kena request, then they assume the other chimpanzee did not want help. Okay, so ia punya help atau is upon request. So this would be the conclusion of the study. Now my slides ada evaluation. I think I delete the evaluation. So I'll try to type on the evaluation and give you the handouts before the exam. Okay. So hopefully you're able to revise all the 12 course study on time. Just for the exam, practicing past paper for paper 1 might not help so much because they never repeat question. So whatever question yang sudah keluar will not keluar lagi. So if you strategize yourself by practicing on past paper, it might not be helpful. I would say better lagi you baca all the detail to the study and ingatkan, hafalkan the detail. Or if you're rajin, if you really want to do well, you read the original article because a lot of information, not some lah, some information nada dalam handouts, but it's there on the article, and sometimes the examiner tanya those information yang nada dalam the handouts atau. So you have the resources, so tinggal, I know the time is limited, but there's still time at least, and if you're listening to this video at this moment, I think you already cover all the course study, right? So that's a good thing. Just covering all is already a good head start. So just use up the time left as efficiently as possible, okay?